Here as the Personnel Committee, Erwin Fuss, Chuck Jones, and with us, Bill Valamesa, who is our interim general manager. And the first thing on the agenda is a pledge of allegiance. You'll all point toward the flag and follow me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Okay. The purpose of the meeting tonight is to look at what we have in terms of applications for the new general manager position, and to winnow them down to those that look like that they would be reasonable candidates for the general manager here. And then after that, present those to the board, and the board can then make a decision on who to interview. So we're going to go through them. What we have found out is that we can't give names of these people because there's a privacy issue involved here. So we just consider them to be candidate A and B, and C and D and F. But the first thing on the agenda is the open time. So if anyone has any comment relative to this issue, we'd like to hear from you.
I thought open time was for anything not on the agenda.
Not on the agenda?
Well, this isn't necessarily a meeting.
Not listed on the agenda.
Okay.
We've got 3 meetings.
But,
Yeah, but you got public comment afterwards.
yeah, well, yeah, we got public comments after issue. Okay. Shall we move on? Okay. We have 8 candidates, and we need to take a look at those as we go through them. Not quite sure how to do this.
Have you had a chance to go through them?
I beg pardon?
Have you had a chance to go through them yet?
Well, we have individually gone through
Okay.
them. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, very much so.
Okay.
But, so this is the first time that he and I have gotten together as representatives of the board to winnow them down, to get this, because there's some obviously that, you think you might agree with.
Yes.
Not very, they're not applicable to us.
If it's appropriate,
Yeah.
and we use letters, 8 letters, then it's probably gonna be relatively simple to boil it down a little bit.
Yeah,
And whether we have a recommendation, an alternate, and perhaps a second alternate, does that sound satisfactory to you?
yeah, either that or
And obviously, they will see all of the applications in all fairness.
well, eventually, as I understand it, those individuals who are chosen as the prospective general managers, they will be interviewed. Those at that time they become public knowledge. Is that basically how it works?
I'm not sure at what point they become public knowledge. But they can be, I don't know, past this point, I don't know when exactly they're gonna become public knowledge.
Yeah.
And tonight, what you're doing tonight is you're gonna refer to them as candidates, blah, 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 and you're gonna give a brief overview of their qualifications, and then move on, and then you're gonna rank them.
Yeah. See, for instance, candidate A. You and I discuss candidate A and say, well, is this a viable candidate? Look over what this candidate has presented to us, and would this candidate be a candidate that could serve as a general manager? And if not, set that aside.
Okay. And we've got some input from there.
So in the past, when I interviewed for positions for people, and we had a board that basically like you did, we had actually 3 people that would review the applications. So what you have to do is have a set of criteria, experience, what it is you're looking for. You have 3 or 4 items and you rate them.
Yeah.
So then, when you two come together, you can very easily say, look, here's my top three, what were your top three? And if you don't agree, then you go back through and look at the ones that maybe you like C and he liked D, then you go back through and then whittle it that way, or whittle it down that way. But you have to have a set of criteria and a scale of some sort, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, or whatever that hits your fancy that you're in reviewing it, and then you come together, so that you both have independent applications. So you independently have said what you want, he independently says what he wants, and then you come together and make a recommendation. So if you have too many, then you want it down to 5, or you want it down to 3, that's how you do it.
Thank you.
I want to add to that as well. I've done interview panels for my employer, and we do something very similar. There are key things that we look for, key words, key verbiage in either their resumes or in their interviews that we're like, okay, they marked this, they got that. And then we do a scale of 1 to 5, and we grade them on that 1 to 5 basis per what we're looking for. So customer service, money, management skills, whatever. We look at different things for my job. And we give them a 1 to 5. If they've got a 5, then we do between the 3 of us an average of that 5, and we go from there. So whoever has the highest average, we then pull out of those couple candidates versus just having a mass pool.
All right, thank you. Well, let's have a discussion here. What categories, what qualifications do you think that these people, we should rate these people on? Obviously, water knowledge is one, right?
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
No, I don't.
No?
So, when Johanna was on the personnel committee, that was one of the things that she mentioned, was that her husband, who ended up having a very good job, didn't have the experience or the qualifications per se for a particular position, and yet he was slotted in and he developed it through time. So there are other factors than for me anyways, I agree with that statement, because you're gonna get somebody maybe that has a lot more heart and a lot more drive than somebody that looks good on paper. So sometimes you two might have to interview the whole entire 8, get it down to the 5 or 3,
Yeah,
because
well, Beverly, that's the thing. All we have is paper.
yeah,
So we don't know where the heart is here.
right, correct,
So
you
you
don't,
gotta start somewhere.
correct.
So I'm saying, could knowledge of water be a factor?
It could be a factor, yes.
Okay.
Write that
What
down.
about management skill?
Yes.
Would that be a factor?
Yes.
What about California, water law and especially CSD law, Community Services District law? Would that be a factor?
Possibly, but it falls under the water knowledge already, a water laws.
It could be part of that, yeah.
Yes, it kind of falls there.
But we don't know that other than what they write down, see?
Possibly legislative or administrative type things through legal, working with the government agencies, maybe grant writing,
Yeah.
there are a number of things like that.
And we might be able to give our recommendation or what we think on these candidates as an A, B, C, but you guys could then go with their names and do some Google
I'm
search.
sorry, I did not hear it all. I beg your pardon, but I don't hear very well.
It's okay. So we can go through and pick out candidates. So you have the A, and we can work through it together, narrow it down to 4. You guys having the information of what candidates are which, and having the name information, you can do Google research on them. So if they've worked in other districts, you can then go see what happened during those districts during their tenure to be like, oh, well, are we gonna get another skip? Or are we gonna get somebody who's actually, real honest, Bill?
Yeah.
So that's our scale.
We gotta be careful.
Well, again,
We don't wanna use any
all
names.
we have is paper.
We gotta,
Understandable.
this is all.
Right, well, that's on the backdoor side for
Okay.
you guys, if no names for us, but if we narrow it down to say we want these A, B, and C out of A through whatever, then you guys can do backdoor research outside of the background check and kind of see what they've done outside of the resume.
If I may, I think what's gonna happen is this is gonna be relatively simple. That in these resumes, there's a diverse background. So what the diverse background represents are, let's say, academic people who are at the top of the class. And if you have an individual who's applied, who obviously, from my standpoint, isn't necessarily a fit because of the type of work that they've done in the past, whatever their stature is, then let's say a resume isn't even legible, let's say. But let's say you've got 2 little snapshots, and that's it. And then those snapshots are illustrations of someone who simply isn't a fit. And then let's go down the categories to someone who has no experience that relates directly to what we have here. Then let's say that's that may or may not apply to a reference with one of our board members and a situation that developed and worked out. So here's a top and a bottom. Then let's say you go through, let's go right in the middle. If you recognize someone who, if we had the budget, that what I would recommend is if we could hire an additional individual, and have that individual as a worker in the field, then that's an application that has a referral. And if we had a budget that provided for it as assistance in a specific manner, then I'm at 3 out of 8. If, let's say someone isn't local to the California area, is you debated about, let's say, water. And if that individual has qualifications, which, because of, let's say, the degree of work, there's lots of, it's fascinating because it actually provides us with a template for what is represented in the water district. We're a small district, we've got 2,000 people, so we're looking for a fit. That's in there in criteria, okay? So it's pretty easy, let's say, for me to go through criteria, experience, rating. One of the other things that occurred in this district recently was a COVID outbreak. So
What? COVID outbreak?
a COVID outbreak. Well, we had to shut down this district at the first of the year. So if I look at an individual and I figure that an individual is inclined to travel a lot, has a lot of exposure, no, we can't really judge something based on, personal habits. But I think we've been fortunate that we had a short break with the COVID. We were able to get back into session. And this week is a good example of what's taken place pretty much over the last, well, it's longer than that, but let's just say the last 2 months since we had the COVID outbreak. I wouldn't want to gamble with someone who was maybe from another area, has a lot of contact with a lot of people, because theoretically this COVID, with what's taking place, could get worse. The last thing we want to gamble with right now is exposure.
I don't think you can do that.
And that may or may not be relevant.
I sure wouldn't say that in public.
No.
I recommend that you guys read the applications, and we can be your cheerleader, or, if you read them, we can tell you, throw it out right away. I mean, we could just give
Well,
you.
which is our suggestion to you.
We're gonna be here forever reading them, and some of them is kind of hard to read.
You can
Well,
give
what I would
a quick, brief
suggest,
overview of each
what I
one.
would suggest, Chuck, is that you and I go through these 8 applications from top to bottom, and the ones that you and I agree on, we can put up here, And the ones we don't agree on, we can just put them over here, because they're not gonna be worth a darn anyway, as far as our is concerned.
But I think that, Chuck, what you brought up is very important. We have to look for somebody who fits with our district.
That's right.
And that's really one reason why Bill has been so excellent and because he works with everybody, he fits with us. When I hired different nurses for different buildings, every building had a different personality, and you gotta get the right one for the right building, and we need to get the right one for our district.
Right, and you won't know that until you meet them. But you
But
can whittle
don't
it down.
dare touch
You
that
can whittle
COVID
it
thing.
down, because in these applications, you can tell who knows this area and who doesn't.
Pardon?
Don't dare touch that COVID thing.
No, no.
No.
HIPAA,
And you will get yourself in a whole lot of,
I'm willing to set that
the
aside.
district, in the whole.
Let's just work on, from my point of view, let's work on the qualifications of the people here
Correct.
that we have before us.
Yeah.
And go from there. Anyway, you wanna do this like that?
Absolutely. Well,
Okay.
I think this is,
Okay.
No.
Well, there's candidate A here, and which is this one, this guy.
okay, what is telling about that individual there is the letter of recommendation. The letter of recommendation on the back.
Yeah, this one?
The last page.
This one was a board member, pardon me, this one was a manager, short time, manager, 18 months, about a year and a half. And, year and a half, of a water district here in California. And what Chuck is referring to is this one, this letter here. He didn't last too long there.
Well, the way it is it gonna be okay if I get down to some specifics in here?
I guess
Without
so, you
mentioning
know, as long as
personal
you,
information,
as long as you don't identify the guy, I guess, that's,
Okay, so the situation was that this individual was the third who worked hard.
Third who? Third
they're
what?
general manager.
in the North State.
And what happened was that the staff
Not too far out.
never helped him with the task at hand. Staff made it difficult for this individual to get the information to do this job. Like the three general managers before him, there were issues. So what this sort of leads to is whether or not, I've had a request from Bill that what he's looking for is someone who can step in, take the job and run with it. So if someone really doesn't understand how to do the job, let's say, and they're looking for other people to help them, or they're trying to figure it out, we may or may not be in a position to do that this time. It looks good. The other, consideration we have is there's a possibility with the pension plan, is that if an individual is not retired, if an individual gets retirement benefits, then we may or may not have to pick up full tab for that individual's retirement. Are you aware of that?
Or if you hired somebody when you're retirement, maxing out their PERS, and they needed 2 or 3 months, and we hired them by mistake, and they worked it, and then retired on us, yeah, we could be stuck.
So what that presents is an issue that is related to a new category that I want to list in my cheat sheet of affordability.
Yeah, we don't really know what that is yet.
so with the one you just went through, basically, they don't know how to help get their staff to work with them.
I'm a little confused with that. What is odd is that usually what you're able to do in a work situation depends on your level that you work at, is you probably know what it is that you're doing. Let's say you're the owner of a business, then you better know all the ins and outs of it because you're gonna give direction. When you look at the qualifications of a general manager, the way that that reads, then you're responsible for everything, and that's in one of these. So, I think this individual is good at what they do, but is it a fit? We've got a small district, we need someone who's familiar with the small district, and then is gonna be able to, quickly pick up everything that we have here, and not
So
take
Chuck,
up.
you're reading too much into it right now. You've got to just stick with the 1 to 5, the 1 to 10 scale.
Okay, well, I did want to answer the question.
I know, but I mean, you're
Okay.
doing the process and you're really trying to look at everything when you've got to just mainly focus on whatever 5 criteria.
Your
Okay,
bullet points.
So,
Yeah.
pension, skill, working with other people, how does it read? And I'm not sure what.
What's his
As far as
experience?
I'm-
You didn't tell us
What
his
are the
experience.
jobs?
As far as I'm concerned, this fellow fits the criteria.
Okay.
And I'm not saying he's the guy that's gonna get the job, but he fits the criteria for a general manager for a small water company. He has been a general manager of a small water company in California.
So,
That's a good start.
How many years' experience did he have prior to being the manager?
I beg pardon?
How many years' experience just working for a water district did he have?
Most of his career has been working with water districts.
10 years, 20 years, 30 years?
20.
Well, about 20 years.
Doing what? What did he do?
Oh, all the way from, when you first start out as an engineer, like a
Field worker?
a water treatment plant 1, and work your way up. He worked his way up to general manager.
Okay, so if he's close to retirement with PERS, is that gonna be a problem for this
It's
district?
It'll
possible.
be getting more cost.
It's
Okay,
possible, we don't
then
know that.
That's the little red
Yeah,
flag.
we don't know that.
Well,
But,
it's a
How old is he?
consideration.
what?
How old is he?
You don't
We don't
get
know.
to ask him.
No, you can't.
You can't ask him.
No, you can't ask him?
No, we cannot
Age
ask.
discrimination.
Yeah.
Oh, big.
Um,
I guess ask him.
Did he quit as general manager?
Nope, he got fired.
Okay.
And along with the 2 previous to him.
He moved on.
He moved on.
What was, so he was fired by the board?
And let me finish. And this letter that came with it, that Chuck refers to, is a letter from the board president of that district.
Recommending him?
Can you read it to us?
Leaving the name out.
I think you could read it, I was just reading it, I think you could read it, and then as far as which water district it was, say X water district.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
it's
do that, yeah.
That person.
So you
that
better
person.
identify them.
Maybe I can-
Okay, let me read this for you.
Too old.
I was on the XX board, this is the board president, from November 2017 until April 9, 2021, when I resigned for personal reasons. On February 18, 2020, the XX PUD hired this gentleman as the new general manager. Like the 3 general managers before him, the staff had issues with him. He worked tirelessly to get along with the staff, but the staff never helped him with tasks at hand. Staff also made it difficult for him to obtain the information he needed to do his job. During the 18 months this man worked for the PUD, this fellow, was director and president for 15 of the 18 months and worked often side by side with him on solving problems and working on new plans to move the PUD forward. During this time, I found this gentleman to be professional and more than willing to take on any task at hand. I believe he tried his best to get along with a very problematic staff. This gentleman's knowledge of water and sewer systems is extremely high. He also understands the rules and laws that control the PUD. This is a PUD, Public Utility District, not a CSD. It's my belief that this gentleman has all the skills to be a solid GM with the correct group of staff working with him. He has experience, knowledge, certification, and the desire to get things done. That's the letter. And then followed by that is a,
we calling that number
eight page,
one?
let me finish, please. Followed by that, there's an 8-page, paper on his qualifications and his job that he is doing now with, well, I guess he's not doing any job now, but, all of the past jobs that he has done. Go ahead.
We're calling this particular fellow you're reading about A.
About what?
Is he number one or is he A?
A.
Well, I just called it A.
Well, that's the reason I wanna keep track of what we're reading, so we can give you a feedback.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm saying, I call him A, but number one, A.
So he's
The first
got a
one-
lot of water experience.
A lot of water experience, he's got management experience, I would say.
Has he been unemployed since he was fired?
Well, I don't know that.
I'd
I
like to
don't
make
know.
a clarification on water. Okay, rehabilitation is 7 miles of the sanitary sewer collection system. That doesn't apply to us.
Land pipe does.
Yeah.
Yeah, laying pipe.
Even a plumber would be a good application.
Okay, so a proposed $6 million upgrade to a wastewater treatment plant, okay? Filter replacements and control system upgrades to treatment plants. Okay? Complete updated district's accounting and billing process.
Like that.
Maintain district water rights through California State Water Quality Control Board's electronic reporting system. Decades of experience, executive level, managing special water districts, responsible for acquiring, treating, and delivering potable water.
Decades of experience.
He was a general manager of public utilities, providing wastewater and water, and vector control as well, mosquito abatement again. Service to mountain community, management and administration of water treatment facilities, including 4 potable water filtration plants and a 1 million gallon per day wastewater plant. So he had both qualifications as water and wastewater. And then his background is he has been a contractor for various water companies, utility companies in the water area all his life, apparently. And worked as
But
a
in
contractor on specific jobs.
But in 18 months, he couldn't get his team together.
That's what this says.
And
doesn't matter.
that is very important.
Yes.
18 months, he should have been able to get his own team together.
Well, keep in mind that, the 2 managers before him didn't do it either.
The 3.
Yeah, but we're not
Three
looking at
before, so I
them.
don't know if he was the 4th or how that's.
So,
We're not looking at them.
Salary range?
no,
Requested, nothing was.
no, none of them have.
Yeah,
Good, okay, good.
that's.
None of them have. So that's something that, what we look at here is what we see. And we're gonna have to pick from what we see and then query these people as to what their salary range would be.
Well, you'll have to give them you'll have to interview them, give them a list of questions and
That's right.
and
That's
then that'll be one part of it.
Yeah.
You'll get a better feeling.
But we can sit here, I can guarantee you that, I don't want to speak for Chuck, but I can guarantee you that we can whittle this down, can't we?
Yes.
There's a few in
And
here.
we've got some ideas.
Yeah,
Then
let's
let's
go
walk
in there
through
that ain't gonna make it.
Candidate B.
I just have a quick question. We might want, if you don't wanna ask them their age, I mean, I wouldn't be shy about that.
You can't.
But if you can't ask them his age, at least ask them, how long would you like to have a job for? You don't want somebody that needs a job for 1 year or
It's-
2 years.
It's not that hard to figure out the age, because all I've gotta do is look at the,
Yeah, well,
the
you
year that they
you
went
can
to
figure out
college.
what.
Yeah.
Look at the year that they went to college.
Okay,
It's
but
good.
that's fine too, but you still need to know, how long do you wanna work?
Well, they'll say forever.
What year did you go to college?
I just don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like an attorney.
College, he's got a degree in, from
Hold
California
it,
State
wait a minute,
University.
hold it, No, Bill,
I wouldn't.
we can't do that, can
You
You
should.
cannot do
I
that.
wouldn't.
we? Okay.
Wait, I don't understand why you couldn't vaguely answer that question.
What's that?
Why you couldn't say he started working in the mid-80s or mid-60s,
Decade.
right?
I'm gonna put it this way,
That's not
they're all my
easy,
No,
age,
it is.
okay? They're right in the same age as I am.
You can ask them what they're
they're all-
gonna be
You
doing.
didn't say anything about
I
it.
don't think
You
anybody-
didn't say anything about it.
No, you better not.
You don't want to go to college?
Hey, did you check any of the references yet at all? Has
No.
anybody called anybody, check references?
No,
Make sure
because-
you know?
They
We
haven't
have
picked
to-
ones yet.
We have to have a public meeting so that we can
Whittle
do
it
it.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, whittle it down.
Chuck, you
And,
can't ask them what they're gonna be
we have
doing,
not-
and want to do in 10 years.
I'm sorry, go ahead, say again.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, you
What-
can
What'd you
say,
say?
what do you want to be doing in 10 years?
Where do you see yourself
Or
in
where
10
do you
years?
see yourself in 10 years? You can't ask that question.
You can ask that,
Oh,
In the cemetery.
and that's the question. You gotta be sure this isn't one of the ones you wanna ask the question of. Let's see, it's now, 7 o'clock, I guess we'll be out of here about 10 or 11.
That's not uncommon.
That's good.
Moving right along, B.
Bill, you got the floor.
Oh, yes,
But the only thing I would add is, into his experience, is he worked for, one of the largest water districts in California, if not the largest water district in California.
Ooh.
So
Was that-
that's impressive.
Was that as the GM?
How old do you think he is?
It doesn't.
No, no,
doesn't-
no,
Yes.
I can't.
I can't.
I go outside first.
No, I've done that
No.
already.
Was
You
that
can
as
hire
a GM
someone young that
or
doesn't
just as
have
an
to
employee?
stay around.
To know how long you can work.
Or
Where
both?
do you see yourself in 10 years?
As an
On to
employee.
B.
Okay,
There's a question on the
Letter B.
floor.
that's good.
No.
Well, what do you think about this, Ed? I'm willing to put him right there and give him a second look.
Very good.
Very good. Very good.
Reasonable.
B.
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 Let's make it easy for you.
Good.
Oh, this one is,
Okay, okay, that's fine.
you wanna get him?
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah.
You warm this up.
Okay. Well, this is a fellow that's a professional engineer, BS in environmental resources engineering, and he is in the same age. All these people that we're looking at here are basically in the same age range. They're
We
all
don't
in
care.
their 50s and whatever.
We don't care.
That's right, but I'm just passing that on to you.
Let's get on to the good
Anyway,
stuff.
Yeah.
this gentleman, professional engineer, and has been an he was an interim general manager, like Bill is an interim general manager for a water district in a large water district in California. And he was the interim general manager until they chose a new general manager. And then this fellow went back to being what he was before, which was the water resources engineer for that district.
And how long was he interim general manager?
6 months.
About 6 months.
Did they change the board of directors? There was one in here where the board of directors changed.
Anyway, so this guy has, looking at where he worked and what he has done, he has an equivalency to what we need here. But again, he worked at a larger one, and why he's leaving, we don't know why any of these people are leaving until you ask them. And we haven't asked anybody. All we have is a piece of paper in front of us to see it.
They're not gonna tell you anyway.
Well, they probably won't, so. Yeah, that's right, he's got here. Where was that? It was the second page, wasn't it?
That's okay. I had to number the pages, by the way. This is
Yeah.
page 2.
Yeah,
You had to
I've
number
established a
those.
successful 20-year track record in water infrastructure management. So 20 years. And the fact that he is an engineer, the fact that he has a great deal of experience in the type of water company that we have, but much larger, and as a matter of fact, more diverse, gives him the necessary qualifications, from my point of view, to be able to work here. Now, whether or not he would survive an interview, I don't know. But we're not doing that now. We're just kind of choosing. Let's see. Aqua member for the last 17 years. Participates in the Aqua Legislative Committee. Hi, Aqua. Hello. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna turn mine off.
You're fine.
A flip phone.
I'm in a meeting, I gotta go.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay.
There's nothing like.
So you said he was an Aqua legislative what?
Legislative Committee. Among other things.
And what don't you like about this candidate?
Well, I don't know, because I haven't seen him. I don't know who he is, don't know what he does. In my estimation, there's another one to put aside and say, we'll take another look at that, because
Okay.
he's got all of
Okay.
the right things, you know?
Can we
Okay.
afford the pension?
Okay, well, we don't know that. We don't know what he's got, what's
Let's just
happening,
get through this part first.
and we need to work on what we know is in front of us.
Exactly.
How do you feel about the candidate, Chuck?
What's that?
I'm asking Chuck for his opinion of that candidate.
Oh, okay.
Well, I had to number the pages of the resume, okay? When I read it, it reads more like a commentary than a resume. Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
So,
We'll find out when we read it.
as I read, it's, you know, I'm directly myself, so, and I'm the last one to complain about that. But as I read it, it's not specific enough. When you set all these up, they all stand out individually amongst each other. So this does not have bullet points. It's just
What you would
a
consider.
verbal, a verbal chronology, let's say.
So it's lacking some professionalism.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Is it more of a cover letter than a resume?
No, it's a cover letter and a resume.
They're all distinctly different from each other.
But he has the qualifications, so you can look at him a second time.
Some people, you know, when you look at resumes, and I guess some of you have looked at resumes over the years, I have. Some are short and to the point, others are very, very wordy. This one's a kind of a wordy one, you know?
Well, that's where if he meets your criteria, that's where you go in and with all of your questions and be able to pinpoint him down to get rid of all of the bull crap that might be in there.
Right, exactly. This is, I would say that this one, in my estimation, it's not a short one, and it's not a long one, it's half full crap. Half bull crap. You know, people, you know, people tend to write things that are good about themselves.
You're
You
supposed
gotta
to.
work your way through it.
You'll find out when you sit down face to face with them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, we don't, you know, we wanna find out, there's some in here that I don't think are,
Okay,
they're not.
I've got two sentences for you. Recently, I handed the day-to-day local role as Director of Operations and Maintenance to my senior subordinate, cultivated under my mentorship to be a competent leader. This delegation allows me to advance my career to an ambassador role representing the agency's regional interest in the big picture arena of statewide public water policy.
Well, he's not.
Says a lot right there, doesn't it?
This is a big
He's
agency.
sitting down, he's sitting away.
This is more than a.
He wants to be a big fish in a big pond.
Yeah,
he-
he's not,
Okay,
it's not.
B,
Well,
Well,
That would be.
qualifications wise, he meets your criteria.
He does.
but a good question would be, we're a little pond and you'd be a little fish.
there you go.
Okay, city,
What else you got?
Next,
Next.
next.
Did you wanna go, you have some.
No, I'm following your lead. You're the chairman.
How about this lady here?
How'd you get that print back?
Well, I had to blow it up, you couldn't even read her.
I wasn't able.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I'll do this one if you don't
Yeah.
mind. Okay. A PhD, engineer, scientist, educator. You know, by the time I went through academics, bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD. One of those criteria things is whether or not someone has said that they can write grants. I'll cover that after a little. This right here, qualified, but qualified to do what? If you've got someone with a PhD who's been to Texas, Germany, California,
No,
they obviously are tied to, well, there's also the, you're gonna have to have a magnifying glass. Okay, so there's some selected publications for you. Just around the corner, Zebras Press.
That's what she's saying?
She had
There's
articles in
there's
these.
just two little snapshots.
she's not our member.
No, next.
She doesn't have going
Yes.
on.
Pass, next.
She has no management
Oh,
experience
you've got that.
whatsoever. What's
It's
that?
okay, she's got an
Did you
education, but
read
that doesn't mean
number
nothing.
your sheet to see?
Which one is that?
You got that as H?
Oh, I had, yeah, I just
Look
had
at the
that.
C. No,
Let's see.
well,
Let's
that's
see.
okay.
Yeah,
C
I'm
for
reading,
cut
I
off.
just picked it up from the bottom,
Okay, we're gonna turn to C.
but that one goes over here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's that round file.
Hold this. I don't have this.
Oh, you don't, oh. you
No,
don't have
I
that.
did, but I didn't even print it.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
you handle that.
Okay, he.
There's no experience.
This,
It just
this,
doesn't,
this fella,
we wanna be careful.
yeah, this fella is, he's a local guy. He works for a local outfit, but has nothing to do with water. Nothing to do with water.
So, well,
Tell us
that's
his
right.
experience.
Nothing to do with water.
Please read his experience.
But what does he have?
Yeah.
What does he have?
Let's just leave it alone. That's probably the smartest thing to do.
No.
Because a person who has excellent management skills can pick up, because if you've got Roberto handling the field stuff, you've got Bill out of the filtration, if this person can manage and, run the office, that's what a manager is supposed to do.
Yeah, but he's not an overall manager. He's a manager of a
Overseeing-
small department.
And this is the
I don't
smallest.
know who it is.
I bet
I
you
have
it's
a name.
I don't know which one they're on either, I'm
D?
just listening to what you
This
said.
is D.
D,
You can't read it to it, part of it
No,
for
I
us?
don't have time.
I don't recommend that.
They're passing it.
Where I did, Bill, is I took the way you sent them to me, and I just, started at the front, went A, B, C, D, E.
Won't share.
D.
Won't share.
Okay, well,
Won't share.
all right. Okay, so, when we did this and I was in the audience,
Right.
and what someone mentioned was the idea that, someone might have, enough talent to pick it up and to learn this trade.
Mm-hmm.
I question that, and my question that does relate here, and don't get me wrong when I look through resumes, is I'm a firm believer in an education for some people. Typically, people who run a business, they might not have it because they were sharp enough and they picked it up and they ran it. In order to get along with people, we had an individual, and there was a question about, and I questioned any one of a number of times because I don't want to read too much in it. So back to this, if someone is educated and they're already on a path, a certain career path, to make a switch to come here, if someone wanted to know how long was it before they got benefits, let's say, then that's telling about what is their intent. So when we say what experience on this that I could pick, which directly correlates to what we have here, which is why I question a board member here about their selection process for the board. And I was just shocked that education wasn't a minimum requirement. And it's kind of like if I look at someone, not this individual, and the highest level of education was high school, then I really wonder whether or not that's a good fit.
You lose a lot of good people that way, because I don't have a college degree. I
Don't get me wrong.
I've got one and I couldn't tell you, about water.
But I have managed water, sewer, all of that.
And no grants.
We've got,
Yeah.
we've got one that I alluded to earlier.
Right, but you're talking this guy right now, and you're saying something, you're talking about his education. Don't,
Not him, because this guy's got an education.
well, that's good.
So does he have a degree in something?
Yes.
Yeah,
What is it?
business administration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
And that fits right in with
That's
regular
perfect for
budgets,
manager.
grants, and all that.
Business
And it's in a
administration,
local
a
body.
good thing, but, in my estimation, you have to know a little bit about a small water company too.
Now, you can learn
He
that.
can learn that.
Well, how long is it gonna take us to?
Bill can
to
teach
do
you.
that?
Look at what Bill is taught the board.
I don't think Bill
If
can.
I'm gonna do someone's job for him, I'm not supposed to do the job.
Uh,
I don't think.
I think we should, I will believe that we ought to set this guy aside. Nice man, good, it looks like he's done good for himself.
Fairly young.
Does he manage?
He manages a small, just 14 employees.
Okay, manages 14 employees.
You don't have less than 10.
You know,
And how long has he been, doing this management position?
oh, he's been here since 2013.
For 9 years.
So he's in for long term.
And he's worked himself up through the ranks.
And that says
Like a lot of people,
right there.
work for Burger Hut.
Gotta start
He was a
somewhere.
carpenter. You know, like everybody else, you move up.
Right.
Anyway, but
Bill,
with all the other ones we have here, I don't see him as a fit.
Do you have
Okay.
an
But
opinion about it?
if you wanna put him there. we
Do you
can put
like
him.
him for that one?
I would like you to
I'm gonna
interview.
keep whether I like it
For a second
or
look.
or not
Is
to
it
a
the-
minimum.
Okay.
I'm providing comments, so
We're gonna have to hold on to that one.
Well, I'm sorry.
You should better hold on to that one.
Do what?
You should hold on to that one.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll put him in the pile for a second look.
Yes.
there you go.
There
Here-
you go.
Here's the reason, there's a lot of people out, including myself, I didn't go to college either, but I taught college kids in the summer months, in the places I worked at. But remember, I went up to aerospace, so that's a little bit, you had to come around type of thing. But I also, you know, been a pilot, I've also had an ocean boat with, you know, certifications for around the world. And then people.
And at what age did you move into that? Right out of the box, pretty much?
Well, actually, I did. I went
That's
to
my
trade
point.
school
That's good, right there.
Did that person have any grant experience? Did he say?
D.
Did he or she?
I'm sorry.
Did they have any grant writing experience?
No.
Individual D.
This running a small department in a large organization.
So, I think what, I'm speaking for myself, but I'll say it for, sometimes when you get people from a different area, they have a different mindset and a different way of looking at it, and sometimes we look at the same things the same way so long, we need new eyes. And that's why I think that we're all saying that might be a person to look
Okay,
at.
is a maintenance supervisor from apartment homes, duplex homes, does that apply to this
No.
situation?
You didn't share that.
Depends on when they were.
I just did.
Okay, and for that, I would
Is
say
that the
no.
last
That
one,
was
or is
D.
that a new one that you're doing?
Yeah, which one is that one? D?
Where are we? We're on D now?
That
Yeah.
was
That
D.
was D, okay, that was D.
That's D? So that was a management company?
Well, we're missing something.
Okay, we're good, we're good.
Okay, you're good.
You good? Okay, let's.
C and then D, okay.
Yeah.
Where else want to go? What's the next one?
Wait,
Can we move on?
Yeah.
E took D out of the funny.
E.
Yeah, this one would be E.
Yes.
Okay, which one?
I'm waiting to see what you have.
Okay, how about this one? Let's go.
Oh, here's a good one.
E.
There we go.
Oh,
Well,
All
yeah.
right.
sunshine, huh?
Here's a guy that, he lives in, another state,
Oh, okay.
and he, up until he sent this application in, was a general manager of a huge water company with a budget of, $25 million a year and a, capital budget of $250 million.
Accomplishments
So what kind of salary is he looking at?
To Z,
Not on purpose.
all, you name it. I am familiar with this area because I went to college in this area, so I recognize, some of the locations. When you go through, man,
How long was he there?
forever.
Yeah, he's been here a long time.
Okay, so here's memberships and appointments. The, boy, can we mention states or not?
No.
I don't see why not.
Well,
You're not mentioning a city.
If he came from Wisconsin, he escaped.
He's been there forever. He's
okay,
looking for a
so
place to
here's a
retire.
number of memberships and appointments. 1, 2, okay, okay, let's do it this way. A River Waters Users Association, that's 1. A River Task Force appointed by a state governor. Same state Aqueduct Advisory Committee, appointed by the Water Office. The American Water Works Association, the Water Environment Federation, the Rural Water Association, the River Public Water Supplies Association, the River Degradation Study Advisory Committee in cooperation with the Army Corps of Engineers, the Water Conference, the Special District Association, the American Institute of Professional Geologists, a Groundwater Association, a National Water Well Association, a Water Well Contractors Association, the Southeast Metro Stormwater Authority, past board member, a Geological Survey Advisory Committee appointed by the governor. That's memberships and appointments.
Oh, nice. So he should work for LA.
Project experience. Manage large, complex projects and budgets, built motivated, cohesive, multidisciplinary teams, presentations to elected officials, staff supervision, mentoring, and delegation, develop innovative solutions to complex problems.
The first thing I thought of when I read this was, here's a guy that's trying to get an easy peasy job to retire.
6 months and he's pick his spot and retire.
No, he man's got great qualifications for a very large water company. He probably should run the LA Water District.
So the problem with that thought process, though, if you retire in California, your income's gonna be taxed. So he'd be better off, you know, depending on.
Florida.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's true, why, you know, maybe he's got family here. Who knows?
And he's not in.
He doesn't say.
Maybe we should move
He
on.
doesn't say, we didn't ask, because we don't have,
Is it possible he's not under PERS because he's from a different state?
Is it possible he's what?
Not enough.
Not under PERS.
Oh, he wouldn't be
retirement.
under, no, he wouldn't be under PERS.
So he can work a couple of years?
Okay, so
true.
if someone like this we were gonna negotiate for money, then what sort of a package would an individual like this typically get? Would they get, a housing package?
We don't offer that.
No.
Whatever,
I've been a trailer.
you're gonna have to find out whatever he's willing to take.
We
That's on a well.
But is that?
Right, he may back out of it if his salary's too high.
You forget we live in California.
Okay, what letter is
Well,
it?
he said that was, he did say,
Can we facilitate this and Set it aside.
No, I like him.
You like it?
Wait,
No,
He was,
Irving has the worst to say.
says here that he did leave the organization in, what is that? October of last year. So he says that, well, of course, well, it says leaving date, yeah.
Retired from?
I
So,
didn't copy of it though.
yeah, leaving date. When he left, his weekly salary was $3,460.
Weekly?
weekly?
Week.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's only 8,000 then?
He doesn't know any of California regulations.
He doesn't know that, and
Not a good fit.
he doesn't allude to knowing that.
144,000.
Yeah.
But he would have the framework.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He would have the framework to pick it up and.
Oh,
do it.
yeah, he's got the framework for it, yeah.
And I think,
So if you wanna consider him, we'll put him in the considering pile.
He may be retired and just looking for a job to do.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under
but the issue with PERS is you've gotta either work, 5 or 10 years before you can even pull anything, so his thing would be a lot less.
I can't, Bill would know. I don't know.
If he doesn't have any, if a person doesn't have any PERS experience, then it's 5 years to become vested for the pension.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then 20 years for the, OPEB.
Yep.
But,
Okay, so I have to ask this question, why don't we like this person?
We
What-
can't
what-
afford him.
So you think that's what it
How do
is?
you know?
How do you know that?
How do you
Well,
know?
the
Politician type.
I
Maybe
think
we
you
can,
ought to
I don't know.
ask.
I think we
He
ought to.
might be
interview
too
him.
bureaucratic.
You remember the concept that maybe someone's overqualified?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I get from this guy.
Right,
you
but
know?
that's a
Nice guy, probably
misleading
done a pretty
thing.
good job where he
You
is.
can't go by overqualified,
I
because
know.
I can't tell you
I
how many
agree.
people, they look at people and say, oh, they're overqualified, why are they trying for this job? You don't know till you ask them.
That's
Thank
right.
you, yeah.
Well, do we
Okay.
wanna ask him?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
He's got
I'll put him over here in the maybe pile.
There we go. We like that.
Remember to put the moving expense on that paper.
What the what?
We're
The
not
moving
paying,
We're not
expense.
paying
Oh.
for
There
that.
is no higher bonus, there is no
Well,
moving
you know,
expense.
It's a waste.
That's the kind of question you ask when you finally interview somebody, and then he says, hey, buddy, what about moving expenses? And we say,
Zero.
huh?
Yeah.
Here's a gas card for 20 bucks.
Okay, number F.
Let's go.
Okay, which one do you wanna go for?
Three,
This
yeah.
one is,
Don't write on the application.
oh, this one, okay, yeah.
Yeah, mark
And
it.
this would be F, no?
Yes.
F,
Yes.
okay.
And
And this is the one here, he is, okay, yeah.
Bingo.
Okay, this guy has, a good qualifications. He's been working about 20 years in the public sector,
What, how long?
about 20 years in the public
Okay.
sector. And, he, has been a director of public works, chief plant operator, water and sewer operations. Bill could relate to that. Budget development, staff safety training, he was an acting city manager for a while, and a
How
general
long?
manager. And this is, and right now, or at least when he sent this in, he was a, let me make sure I got this right.
What was the position?
He was, oh yeah, he was a public, he is or was, when he sent this in, a director of public works for a small city in California.
There's no dates associated with that, right?
I don't see it. Well, it says, yeah, it says, May 2012 to present, he was a director of public works in this small city. Before that, he was, well, he operates as a,
Where'd you find it?
Oh,
right
okay,
there.
gotcha. All right, okay.
And he oversees, well water, implementation, integration, maintenance, management software, systems upgrade.
1,000 gallons per minute, additional water to the city's water supply system.
Oh, yeah.
Well, number 7, water supply project.
Treatment plant of 700,000 gallons, storage tank, a booster pumping station, couple of wells. Prior to that, from 2009 to 2012, he was a general manager of a small water district. Yeah, small water district.
Well, he's
Doesn't
got
indicate here whether it
qualifications.
was a CSD or a water district, but it
He's
was
got the
either
qualifications.
one of the two in California.
And small water districts.
So he's in PERS for 20+ years then.
Probably so, yeah, he's been a public employee, so in California, he obviously is part of PERS. But, keep in mind, you know, that shouldn't be a guiding factor right now. We ought to pick people that can do the job, and then we can evaluate that later.
Correct. So what do you like about him, and what do you not like about this applicant?
Well, I think this guy takes a second look, myself.
I do too.
But I don't know what you're gonna find once you see it, but I think he deserves a second look, because the way he has operated all these years, he's always worked in wastewater, water treatment, all the way up to now as the public works director for this city.
Small city,
Small city.
yeah.
Let's see, about the size of Anderson or
Oh, okay.
Costa Lake.
Under 15,000.
Mhm.
So what don't you like, per se, when you look
I
at it?
don't know what I don't like, until I talk to him, you know?
Yeah, okay,
But he's got all the right parts.
okay.
A comment like other activities, I mentor staff and community members with education and career choices.
That's pretty standard, Chuck, and what
Yes.
we as managers have to put on an application.
Okay.
Developing staff.
Yeah, it's a requirement.
Pretty much.
He's got the
Okay, so this
education.
is a weekly salary, $2,000.
Okay.
4, 6, 8.
Does it mention grant writing?
96, 106.
See, here's another one, he's got, and this would trouble me in a way. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration, that's good, but he doesn't have any qualifications in, or certificates in water specifically. But yes, yet he manages water and wastewater, so.
Hang on. He's got, and Bill can give us.
Oh, wait a minute, he does have certification, I beg your pardon.
He's got a grade 5.
Grade 5 wastewater.
And Bill's probably better explain what these really are. Of the grade 5 wastewater treatment plant operator, the grade 2 water treatment plant operator certificate, and the grade 2 water distribution operator certificate.
So I beg your pardon, he does have.
If I go back to A, what surprised me, because I had a brief conversation with Bill. With A, what was funny was how the,
A.
I don't have it here.
Candidate
Of similar, let's say
Candidate A?
similar
Oh, yeah.
certifications, and I don't have the depth to understand what Bill does with the certifications and how they apply.
It took me a minute to figure out which one you're on.
No, well, I referred back to A, but we're now looking at,
Yeah, so currently, the one you guys are on now, I got it here. Yep, I'm on the same one now. A grade 5 wastewater treatment plant cert is pretty impressive, but it doesn't necessarily apply as far as regulations and what we do. And then the grade 2 distribution and the grade 2 treatment just means he took a 36-hour course and passed a state exam with 0 experience. But he has experience. But, cause in California, it's pretty cool, you can take a class and take a test and you get certified and call yourself an operator.
With no experience.
With no experience, however,
And I've read that.
skimming through this, I will say that, he's worked his way up, he's been an operator, he can relate to, everything we're talking about. The one thing I will say about somebody that has been an operator and worked their way up into management is when they give an order to do something, at least they know what the hell it is, like working at night or working safe, or maybe it's something they've done.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Plus he's small town, I mean,
Yeah.
he's small town.
Yeah,
Too small. Anyway, I think this is somebody to look at.
Okay.
yeah.
Agreed.
I guess
Now,
it's small.
for sport, if you come back to A, on the service, I thought that there was some,
Oh, yeah, as far as,
the same type of review with.
Now you're back to A.
Certification.
so
Back to A.
the certifications for this person, my computer's not loading, but let me get to it. I don't wanna speak out of. This person is the one that has worked for a really large water district for a lot of years, and I don't have his, oh, here it is, right here. So he has a grade 2 wastewater, which is still impressive, and a grade 5 treatment operator cert, like myself, which is obviously impressive.
You would say that.
Yeah. The grade 5 water treatment operators certification is not a written test, it's a board review down in Sacramento in the EPA building in front of 5 or 6 suits you've never met, and they can ask you anything. And I mean anything, because water is such a broad subject, from chemistry to management to, I mean, just name it. And it is hard. 7 different scenarios, you have 30 minutes to work your way through them, and you have to touch all these different points. And they can stop you in the middle of your rant and ask you to elaborate on that point right there, and it is not easy.
And that's A.
Yeah,
But we don't need that because we have you.
right. You don't, technically.
Well, with that said, if you go on vacation, we
Well,
need
it's nice
somebody
to have a
to back you
gentleman that
up.
knows that stuff.
Right, right.
That's why we have temporary operations plans, is for like when I leave, and the state wants to know how things are gonna be handled in my absence, we can do that.
So A
Can we
is-
move on to the next
A is
one?
good consideration.
Okay, that was F. Let's go
Well, that
to, let's,
No,
here,
okay.
Jack, let's go to G, this one right
You
here.
can make notations.
How about that?
I want to go here
Which one is
because
that?
of this reason.
What is that?
I want to go here first,
See,
because that's the conclusion.
Okay, what's this guy, what is that? What does that say? I can't read your writing. I'm no better. Let's see.
That's
Let's
what
see.
the
Where's
board
this guy?
process
This is what, that guy, yeah. What, let's see. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Okay, so we got 2 more. And we're talking about this guy, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. He is,
What letter are we on?
G.
G.
Okay.
And he is, he works locally here in,
Bill had told me that he had taken, Bill had told me that this individual had taken a job and was no longer available.
oh, is that right?
But what happened was that I believe that there was a clarification to that, where that might not be an issue.
Yeah, so recently he sent Erwin an email changing his mind.
Oh, yeah, that's right, and I forwarded it to you.
Correct.
That's right, that's the guy. Okay, so that means he's still available. Okay.
For consideration.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this guy, has experience, in wastewater and water.
How many years?
What I was gonna say is this is an individual who has a high school degree and has worked his way up.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's right. He,
Public agencies
he has been,
or private? There's both.
yeah, he's worked for several local.
So what happens here is that
public.
there may or may not be experience as a general manager. If we wanted to pick up an employee who we could afford one, then I believe it's possible that that position could be,
What about supervisory
in
experience?
the future, for someone to work under.
Right now, he is well, he's not working now. I guess when he sent this to us, he was.
So back to the qualifications. Treatment plant operator, number 2.
What?
Treatment plant operator, 2.
It's a 3 to 1.
Water treatment distribution systems operator. General manager.
How long?
Small, right, general
That
manager?
was brief there, that
What,
was.
as a general manager?
6 months.
Let's see, it looks like, oh yeah, about 4 months.
Prior to that, a tire company
Yeah,
manager for 4 years. There. Assistant manager in the tire business for
yeah, it's been,
12 years.
looks like, in 2012, we made the switch to water.
So 10 years of experience in Waterfield?
So this individual isn't maxed out in terms of.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the qualifications we need in the position we're in.
Yeah,
As a general manager, however, there could be some other services.
I kind of thought he was weak, a little weak. Yeah, I would put him in the, take a look at him again maybe, pile, something like that.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. That's
It's
fine.
your decision.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But
We
how
got it,
much-
but I kind of agree, I just a little hesitant about.
Does he have any experience in grants or budget or anything like that?
None.
And I'd put him in the junk pile.
Thank you.
Put him with that Germany girl.
None.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, we got one more here. And this would be G, this would be F. No, here we go, H.
All right.
H.
Are we done?
Would you like to do the one more?
Okay, so stop. Well, just a minute. So Bill has an opinion that he's not sharing with us.
I'm just correcting the certification. Grade 4 water treatment and grade 3 distribution.
Okay, oh, for that guy.
Grade 4.
Yeah.
Grade 4, T4, D3.
I think he should be put in the consideration file.
We'll put him in, we'll put him in a second.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that, we'll get to later.
That's
Yeah.
fine. All right, now this guy right here.
Yeah, you can do that and then figure out how you want it.
What's this one? Oh,
Okay.
well, let's just look at it like we looked at all the rest of them. This is a fella who, is local, he's retired. He retired from the city of Reading.
Oh, you
You're
can't
not
say that.
supposed to
Yeah, I
say
can't say that, but I just did.
From a local agency.
We'll have one big vote.
And he,
Everybody sign it.
Can we edit
He
He said
worked-
reading, didn't he?
Nope.
he worked as he's
That's
got
in New
a,
Mexico.
he has a degree in, civil engineering. And he's worked all sorts of jobs, including a lot of water jobs in, for the city of Reading. And he retired.
Hey, don't sit, you can't say.
Well, he did it once.
Public Works, what,
Yeah, public work, yeah, let me be sure. I think so, but
Okay, so he had a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering and a major in Structural Engineering.
yeah, public works.
Not bad.
Then he left, then he did leave there and go to work for a while for a year or so for a water district, and then retired.
And what did he do at that water district?
At that water district, he was the engineering manager, project manager. It sounds like he was hired probably to do a multi-million-dollar public water project.
Okay, prepare a request for proposals, recommend to the board of directors to hire consultants,
Well, he did a
to
little bit
oversee
more,
consultant
yeah.
projects,
Okay.
review capital improvement and land development plans, oversee preparation of the water master plan and capital improvement plan,
Much the same as a general manager would do.
administer public works construction contracts.
He does have qualifications.
What kind of longevity could you expect out of that particular candidate?
That's a good question, because he is retired.
We don't know what age he retired, but if we're looking for someone for a minimum of 10 years.
We're just trying to get into this.
Who knows?
Go forward.
And we could hire somebody younger, and that doesn't mean they're gonna hang around for 10 years.
Right.
We don't have
Right.
crystal
We
balls.
might run them off.
Well, you gotta get an application, you gotta get an application from somebody on
How
the
about-
first.
Has he, worked it with any staffing, or
Within
how does
what?
he manage,
Management experience,
management
supervisory.
experience?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, he's had the
here is
supervisor.
that's a lengthy period of time right there. Let's say a
Significant stretch of time.
public works, a project manager on a wide range of multi-million dollar public works projects.
Well, we wouldn't have that to do here.
Prepare requests for proposals, and recommend to the director the hiring of consultants.
But no management, no management
He's done-
experience?
Yeah, I guess as the manager for the water company, water district.
How long?
Length of time is that? in that position?
Just about a year over there.
Yeah, but
But
a
that's what I
project,
thought, I think he was
Different.
engineering manager. He might have been just he might have been hired to do a particular project,
right,
you know. But it doesn't say that, it's just.
You have to ask it.
I don't know unless you talk to the guy.
Doctor.
But he started, his career, apparently according to this, in 1990, so, you know, he's retired.
Careful with your age.
A special districts representative.
Oh, he was he also was a director of one of the water companies here in Shasta County. I won't say which one. I happen to know this guy. No
For
information.
8 years, director.
And he actually was on LAFCO too for a while.
Okay, so the
Special
certificate,
districts represented LAFCO.
It's not always a plus.
water distribution operator,
Well, it depends on which point of view you're coming from.
It does.
certificate, the water distribution operator, grade D2, and the water treatment operator, grade T2.
I'm more impressed.
Now, like I say, I know this guy, I haven't seen him in many, many years, but I was surprised to see him
Water treatment.
do this. I think he needs another look myself.
So what is it, can I do this?
What's it?
But-
Well, it's public knowledge, so.
Okay, so what struck me when I looked at these is this individual sent Bill an email. Talks about the trouble with our previous administration.
number H?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this H.
As indicated in a phone call and illustrated on this email. I'm currently available should the district desire to hire short-term, part-time help while it seeks a new general manager. Please keep my resume on file and contact me if I can be of assistance.
So he's not looking for a full-time permanent position anyway?
Well, he didn't say that, he just
Yes,
said.
he did. He most certainly did. Part-time,
He said,
interim. He most certainly
short-term,
did.
part-time help while it seeks a new district manager. So And it could be, he could be considered as a general manager too.
He's looking for part-time and interim.
I haven't contacted him, Erwin hasn't contacted him.
No, can't do that.
What we're looking to do is to have a meeting, let you know what we're considering. And there was a recommendation that was made that this would be the only thing that we could afford at this time. Now, I've heard another point of view. So what our goal would be is to move forward. We don't have to just end the interview process or the review on our candidates. What would be helpful is, since we've had this review for a general manager in all of, let's say, the last 4 to 6 months, Bill was willing to take on the interim manager position. He extended himself now from January. He's gonna go on vacation in the near future. So we need to come up with a plan, make a decision. And pretty much, we've got nonstop meetings. Everything's an emergency. And I'm looking for a means to move forward and keep the door open on some other items.
Are we still advertising for the job?
No,
Well,
not really.
It's on the website.
What's that?
It's on the website and everything else is expired.
Oh, okay, don't you think that because you have the COVID-19 and corona kind of passed, we should start now to advertise a little bit more?
Well, we've advertised it.
I know we have, but we've advertised in the wrong time. The wrong time, everybody was sick and everybody's wearing masks and they're not gonna move out, they're not gonna do anything, you know? Now, people are going back to work, they're taking the masks off, pretty much everybody's doing that. And, I think it's maybe time we.
Russell, I appreciate the concern you got for that, and I understand it.
Yeah.
But I share Chuck's dilemma, concern on it, and that we gotta move forward, we gotta do something.
Well, we are.
You know, we can keep putting this off and putting this off and. gotta move on.
Two things. We've got some pretty good things to look at here.
Yeah, you got some good
Okay,
ones.
we've got some good ones to look at. Has the finance committee come to some kind of a conclusion?
No.
What we can offer?
No.
We don't have a budget. I don't wanna talk about anything of the brief stops that I made in the district office.
Right.
Bill is in charge of that. I have to be careful with any conversation I have with any board member. Both Erwin and I have been extremely careful in this process.
Yeah.
We're being careful, and what Bill had said was he was gonna sit in the audience and just let this happen. But what Bill's doing is he's providing us with some specific information, obviously because I come back, with a reference, with items, and
Okay, so,
we're looking at it.
so when you interview these people, you have nothing to work with then?
No, we do. What?
Okay.
Well, no,
You don't.
you're
Whoa,
right.
whoa, whoa, wait a
You
minute
just
now.
said no.
We
This
don't
is the
know what we
committee.
can, what are we gonna offer to someone? What are we gonna offer to someone when what was clarified for me is that we've got a win-to payment, which is effectively the general manager's salary, okay? And that's not just gonna go for a year, which is what I heard first. I had that clarified. We're looking at that for 3 years now. So we're strapped.
Winner so
But
far.
we can't leave all of this on Bill.
Right.
Where Bill's gonna be responsible for the water, be responsible for putting out all these agendas. We got 3 meetings this week. We've got emergencies that come up, and we're gonna head down the path, 22. So we need to figure out how to come together, make a decision, and figure out how to move forward, and not delay, how are we even gonna do an interview process? That means that we've gotta narrow this.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do it, let's do it.
And get together the people who are gonna do the interview.
You are.
And somehow or another, well,
It's the personnel committee does the interviewing.
Yeah.
That's
And then makes
per board
recommendations.
standards.
and we can't,
But wait a minute now, hold on, everybody. We're just two guys sitting here, and we have to, if whatever we come up with your help, we have to take this to the full board, and they have to say, okay, interview those people. Or they may say, well, I don't like this guy at all, no, don't forget
No,
about
they
him.
don't even get to look at the applications. They're not part of the committee.
Yeah, well, they can look at them.
They can go into the interviews can be closed session.
Yes, they can.
Which,
We've discussed this.
You wanna talk, go ahead?
Thank you. Can we close item A and move on to item B over time?
oh,
And
Well,
regain
no,
some-
no.
Then you can ask all your questions
We
about
haven't
finance
finished,
or
we
anything.
haven't finished
I'm
yet.
not asking finance questions.
So what I have here, that Chuck and I have kind of sort of agreed on with your help, is that we have A, that we'll look at again, we'll present to the board.
No,
First interview.
F and H. And then there was then we have a little stack over here, that's the maybe stack. And then one of them was, B, and the other one was E, and the other one was G.
So 6 and 2 out.
based on personal experience, 6 is too many. You need to go down a little bit more.
I'm thinking of 3 or 4. No more than 4.
I don't understand where he's going.
So if we
We're at
agree
3
on
right
these
now.
3,
We're at 3 right now.
we have the maybe 5 over here.
So what 3 do you have?
We have, A, F, and H.
E.
E's and maybe.
And the maybe file is B,
Freeze Bill up to go.
E, and G.
Okay, so E is the $25 million budget guy. What do
Wait a
people-
minute, let me look and see.
It is.
You say E? Yeah, he's the big guy. No, wait, no.
Yep.
Hang on.
Huge water company.
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, he's the big money guy.
Get rid of them.
Want to get rid of him?
Nope. I
No?
would.
I would too.
I would.
I gotta tell you,
This,
He's very well qualified.
Out of the 3 maybes,
don't make a mistake,
out of the 3 maybes, I would.
make a mistake,
I
you're the wrong person.
I would propose B instead of the big money guy, but
The big money guy might wanna raise our rates a lot higher than what we can afford.
which was that again?
The big money guy might wanna raise our rates higher than what we can afford because
Well,
he's used
yeah,
to
well,
larger
well,
districts.
you know, that's the other thing, folks, and this is critical, because we've talked about this before. We don't even know how much we can afford. Bill is working on that now, we have a new bookkeeper, things are coming together finally, and Bill can put together a budget for next year based upon what we already have, and we'll get a pretty good idea pretty soon, before we interview these people, of what we could offer.
But
We
then
don't know
you-
that yet.
But then you get back to somebody, in my opinion, who has worked with big companies all the time. And it gets back to what I said at the beginning. You have to have the person that fits us. And we're not big town people. And Happy Valley is Happy Valley.
there is one very important point on this criteria that was suggested to me. If someone's used to delegating to someone, or someone is in a big group position, then maybe they don't understand the duties of those people who are underneath them.
I agree.
That someone else does those tasks. And we need to keep that in mind. It's that we've got a fully functional district office now. A bookkeeper, a secretary, and what's the other?
Clerk, and, right?
yeah.
Okay,
And an assistant.
so they don't need to be interrupted. People really shouldn't be asking them any questions. Someone needs to come in here. Bill's got plenty to do. Take the reins and go. That's what we're looking for.
I have a question actually for Bill. So the person that you're discussing, the person that's offered, I guess, to be a part-time position, Would that be somebody that could come in, assist you, and you just be our permanent manager?
Oh, you mean use them to like just bridge the gap and then let me move on? No. I think the plan here is to figure out who the permanent manager is gonna be and allow me to
Move on.
do my job, which is, you know, the treatment plant's up at the lake at Whiskey Town, and it's becoming, it's hard to do both.
Right.
And,
Do you want to be?
so I'm gonna be off-site. essentially.
And I just wondered if you had the right the right help, if you might reconsider.
No.
We're looking for a general manager.
Not to put you on the spot, but yes.
Yeah,
It all sounds good, it seems like it would fit very well, it makes a lot of sense, but, you know, Bill has to agree to that.
It would be pretty hard to find someone to just step in and take over the plant, to an extent where I didn't have to babysit somebody. It would be a lot easier just to find a manager.
So, Bill, can you tell us about H, which is, he's already got PERS retirement. Our understanding is that you can only work so much before it affects your benefits or your retirement.
Because when you retire out and you come back to work for the state, you can only work so many hours before it upsets your benefit scale.
That's correct, and so if this person is retired and they're collecting their PERS, then they can only have up to 1,000 hours a year.
So
he's out.
he's out, H has gotta be out.
H is
H is
out.
I
out.
believe it's 1,000 a year.
Well, he's
It's a really low amount.
You know,
He's out.
I don't think you can have a 1,000-hour general manager here.
That's
That's right, H is an
eliminated.
So he's out.
He's done.
You need somebody that's gonna be here all the time.
Right.
Right, here with the
What's a
application.
part-time guy gonna do when you call him at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, the water treatment plant or the pipes
Fix
are
the
busting out
application.
here?
We don't.
You gotta show up.
So take
Take H out, put him in that other part.
Okay,
Then,
What was your
the
feeling?
budget.
Yeah.
What's your
Well,
feeling?
first off, if the treatment plant's upset, the general manager's pretty low on the totem pole to get called. Just to correct that.
You still can't work.
But if
But
there's
as
a
far
10-inch,
You can't work more than 4 hours.
if there's a 10-inch, main line broke, the manager's gonna get called, correct?
No.
No?
Last-
Dumbass though.
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna call
Because-
someone.
Yeah.
You're gonna call.
You're gonna call the on-call person, and the on-call person's gonna call the field supervisor.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm
We're
just saying.
structured where we have administration and, operations, and right now I'm kind of doing both.
Right.
So the general manager is not gonna get too involved in operations, at least he shouldn't be.
I
But
believe the last one was in there every single time.
I'm not convinced.
Wouldn't you say, Bill, that we need more of a person that's administrative
I
than
think
water?
so.
no, they need to have experience in water. But they don't need to be out there telling the guys, oh, you need to use a butterfly valve here instead of a
Yeah,
gate
right,
valve.
right.
They don't need to micromanage, but they need to be able to sit down at the
Operate on
table
different
and understand water needs and be able to, negotiate on behalf of the district. So somebody without basic water, experience isn't gonna really be able to do that. So water management I think is important. That's just my opinion. And someone else.
So are we willing to raise the rates to afford a general manager?
We may not have to.
No.
Let's find out what we got in the way of money. I don't even know that yet.
We are working on it today, just amongst ourselves, putting together a bone basic budget, but paying the WIN Act out of the general fund or the base rate or whatever was kind of a burden.
Yeah,
We
that's the
didn't
big
plan
issue.
on that.
But
So
you can sit down and, on the back of a napkin, come up with
Where did
the
you
idea
plan
of how
on
much
paying
money we
I have a
have.
loan.
And if we didn't have to pay off that WIN Act,
That
we
fell
don't have
through
money for a general.
back when Skip was the manager.
we hired that part-time guy, and he worked 50 hours a year, 50 weeks a year. He can only work 20 hours each week.
Right.
We're trying to bridge the gap.
There is no gap.
No,
He
yeah.
needs to go
No,
away.
it's fulfill a position. There is no bridge, it's fulfill.
It's gotta be
Well, I
full-time.
I think what I'm hearing is we're not really in that position yet. We don't know how much we can offer.
No, you can't offer anybody anything.
We don't even know how much we can offer. Well, so it sounds like this is a segue. It gives Bill some help, and it gives us time to get a budget.
But then we just have to get this
And this
process.
person's just, yeah, we do,
Yeah.
but we're not ready.
You've
It
got
sounds,
3 months to do it
I
in.
mean, when you don't
Yeah,
have,
but we do have candidates.
but we don't
and
have a
we can
budget.
interview
We don't
those
know what
candidates once we
salary
know
we
how
can
much
offer.
money we have.
Well, we can interview them and we can see whether or not they're willing to work with us or not.
Yeah,
You
we
could,
can ask them
call
questions.
them, you could call them and just see like how much they think they want to make.
That's
And you
exactly
can just
right,
read them out
yeah.
right there, 'cause
What kind of salary are you looking for?
reading
But
over
even
these-
at that, what is our,
Minimum wage.
yeah, what
reading
are we
over-
offering?
reading
Can
over-
we bring in
I'll
a
get into that.
third board member to help us work through this?
Bring one?
No,
No, you can't,
Bring one?
you can't.
no, it's only the personnel committee.
But you could call this person and just talk to them.
Yeah.
You ask them if they're still
That's
available.
exactly-
and I are gonna be left holding back.
Because you're listening.
Yes, you are.
That's
Call
what
them
the
right
personnel
now.
committee does.
Well, wait a minute, we're going too far now, folks.
H needs
We are
to go.
still at the stage of picking the people we're gonna recommend to the board.
H
The
needs
board
to
still
go.
has to look at it.
Okay, I have a suggestion, if you do find somebody who really looks good and is willing to do it, why don't we let them know what's going on and say, okay, after 6 months, we can give you this much of a raise, at the end of a year, we can maybe bring you up to what you want.
No, they need to
You're,
hit
you're
a
reminding me
metric.
of one of the things that I noticed in here, is that when I look at a resume, I can see whether or not someone has any idea what's going on with our district. So when I went through B, for instance, this has no reference that applies directly to what we have going on in our district. That was the difference with, H. At least that individual had some idea about what we've got going on here.
Can't do it.
You know,
You can't do it.
Yeah,
that's one of the questions.
I'm not, I understand that.
But B,
For
one in the
instance-
big pond, he's a bigger structure one, we can't afford him. B,
You don't know.
number B is the one that is the big guy.
I was just making a comment.
No, that was.
Did someone do any
That was
research?
E. Did you say E?
No,
B.
B,
B, boy.
E. Oh, boy. B.
boy.
No,
Yeah.
B is the other guy.
Yeah.
B is the guy that is,
See, and this is where I actually
The big
go back to
fish.
E. I go back to E, you know, the guy who's done it all is at least he sort of, you know, did acknowledge, you know, what could be going on in this district. I don't see too much specific to us here.
yeah, the B is the guy that's the general manager of a larger water district down south of us.
Right.
Not, but not the Colorado. The Colorado guy is E, or no.
The out-of-state guy.
I was thinking, Colorado, sorry about that. Colorado, well,
It's a
anyway,
red
that's
state.
Okay, so we're back to,
So we need to wrap this up and recommend to the board,
Squeeze it out of there.
let's recommend to the board 4 people. We got 3 people here we think have the qualifications, H, F,
H needs to
and
go
A.
away.
H needs to go away.
H needs to go away?
Yes.
Why?
Because he only wants, he can, if he's retired, he can only work 1,000 hours a
Oh,
year.
that's right. you can only
That
work
gives
that.
us 20 hours a week.
Okay,
We
yeah.
do not need
Unless,
that.
unless he wants to get taxed.
No,
We do
no,
that.
No,
Yeah.
it's
He probably
detrimental to
doesn't
the
want to get
benefits.
taxed.
Absolutely not.
He's going
Thank
over here now.
He's not.
Well, unless you would hire him for 6 months, then he can work 40 hours a
No,
week.
we'll be going through this again in 6 months.
Exactly.
We need to get a general manager.
Then Bill will be interested in it.
Because
You
all
can't do
we're
that.
doing is collecting
Yeah.
money from the people.
I'm sorry. How,
But
what?
we gotta listen to the minutes.
I'm sorry, I have a hard time hearing.
All are we doing,
Done.
Bill answered that
The
last
thing
time.
about
I
it
think.
is, the reason I bring it up again and again is because we need that money, we need them to join us to pay the water meter bills and all this, so we can afford a few bucks more to get somebody in here. That's a very important thing. If we sit on our hands and let this slide, remember, that's money we could be using for this.
The grant money, the grant money has really covered a lot of that. I forget what that dollar figure was that $46,000 though?
The arrearage?
Yeah.
It was closer to 50,000,
Right.
and people are starting to pay their bills that were outside of that.
And
It's
at the
not,
last,
it's not as bad as it was.
at the last meeting, what Bill made clear is that, we're a little off agenda, but that's okay. What Bill made clear is that there's now no forgiveness, and there's no forgiveness because those, what was the provision that let these people slide?
Or you could shut them off.
Well, that came to an end, so they don't have a legal excuse where they can get away with it, and we're now able to shut them off and turn them off.
So Bill, you said they're a little better, what is, I mean, that's, you know.
I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but, I mean, there was a time where there was like over $100,000 total, and then that was due, and then just inside of the, COVID number, I came up with like 120 or 130,000,
Yeah.
and then people started paying, and that shrunk down to just under 50,000. But there's still some past due, but it wasn't near what it was.
Well, the idea is the people that are paying are gonna continue to pay, so the
Yeah.
$50,000 we collected is gonna be in the kitty in the next months to come.
Right.
So it's important, in other words, it's important to get on that you get that money. It's very important, even if you have to shut it down.
We're working on that too.
Yep.
Because we're not willing to pay more. That's just.
Well, we
As
got
far as
two.
I can tell, that's.
A and F, or two of them, and, we had the B and the E, the guy with the, from Colorado.
Out of state.
What is it, the big guy,
What happened
and
to
I think
F?
you guys said no, on him,
Where did F go?
We did, but you didn't.
Didn't meet the minimum qualifications.
yeah,
Yeah.
We covered that.
no, F,
No?
No.
Oh.
What?
F, no, you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got two. We've
Yeah,
got
we got
F
two.
and A.
that's,
A,
one of them is
B,
F.
F and A.
We've got two.
What happened to B?
Yeah, he's got a,
B got thrown
the
out?
manager of small
He was the
City.
big one, the
and water.
one for
Big
the
fish.
big fish.
Okay, we got two, so we have two others here that, were in the maybe file. One was B, and that was the guy that, had,
Nice response.
no, he didn't like it, huh?
No.
He was a professional engineer, and he is, or was at that time, the interim, he was an interim general manager for this larger water company down south, and, then went back to being the principal water resources engineer
Not focused.
to the present time.
Good interview, but not focused.
He,
Okay.
he's the one that has the half bullshit.
Did you get that?
I don't see a fit for what we do here. It's
Okay,
got to
well.
be straight up.
Okay, so we
Okay,
got two
cross
of
him
them,
off, cross him off.
okay?
Did
We got
any
two
of
them.
the applicants
And you
have
got this
grant
other one
writing
here.
experience?
G,
Did any
Yeah, I
of
think
them
they
have
had a
grant
problem with
writing
G.
experience?
They don't write it down. They don't listen.
Nobody.
But you'll ask them all.
problem with G.
It's not their.
Well, my suggestion is before you interview these guys, is that you call them and see if there's one still available.
Yeah, now again, we can't do that, we can only recommend to the board, and that's what we're doing. Recommending to the board, they may say, well, I don't like these either.
I think you can call them and ask, and what kind of salary they're looking for.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, why can't you call them?
Yeah.
You're the personnel committee.
You
can
can.
decide.
Exactly.
you can contact them
Okay.
on
You
your
can
own.
narrow it down by asking.
We got two of them right here.
Because I had
Why don't you call one,
contact
I'll call the other.
Are there phone numbers on there?
But
Oh, yeah.
those are two questions you
Do
can't
it.
ask them.
Yeah,
Salary and if they're
yeah,
still
it's easy to get a
available.
hold of them.
Salary and what?
If they're still available.
Yeah, that's the first question, if you're still available, and this goes back 6 months.
But most of them will tell you salary too that they want.
Yeah. Well, that we'll insist on. What do you want?
Salary range.
Yeah,
See,
give me the salary you want. If you say, well, whatever I'm worth, well, you're not worth anything to me, unless you tell me what you're worth.
Well, it seems like,
So we got two.
it seems like every time you get the full committee back there, they have a hard time getting things straightened out. And you only got 2 months to get it done.
Agreed. Okay, pension. Okay,
So you actually have four. You have your A and your F that you have on the best list,
Right.
and then
Gonna
you're,
come back?
and then you're left with E and G, so there's your four. G at least is the local person,
B and G.
The G is one.
not B,
Not B,
not B, E.
E.
Alpha,
Oh, that's the Colorado guy. Okay.
out of state.
And what's the other one?
Colorado's that.
G.
I like it.
G,
Yeah.
Say
Yeah,
for.
that's
the
right.
local.
Yeah, local guy.
What city already
That
got
Although
would-
he has
that
no
would be
grant,
fine.
he has no grant experience.
Would you go along with that, Chuck?
No.
It's a phone call.
Yeah.
one of my hesitations is that I don't wanna give someone false illusions about what we have going on here. If we make a phone call and we engage someone, then that means that we're ready to go.
No, you're
Not
considering them,
necessarily.
and looking
Just
for
a phone
further
call.
information.
No,
Yeah,
it's not engaging them that you're ready to go, it's
When
just
you call
making
and you say,
sure.
hello, Mr. So-and-so, this is so-and-so from the Hanover Valley, or the Clear Creek Community Services Water District. I'm making a preliminary call to you.
Preliminary, yeah.
Yes.
And we'll get back to you.
Yes,
So, okay, Bill.
Hey, Bill?
Did A make the short list?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, not to burst new with the phone.
yeah,
But if he were to work here for 30 days, he would qualify for OPEB.
If you did what?
Qualify for full retirement, like we would have to pay.
retirement benefits.
Oh,
30 days.
Walking out of here in 45 days.
Okay, let's-
Because
Switches.
he started.
I've already been down this road. Okay?
So you're saying that you wait 30 days?
Is gone.
Okay.
Just drop it right there. A is gone.
okay.
Okay.
Now,
Well, the basis that you can say for that is because he didn't have a good, working crew. At least the three other managers were fired too.
Right.
But that's
No,
an issue right
no, that's a
there.
different person.
No, that's A.
That's it.
That's A.
That's
That's
A. I'm willing to look at it. I'm willing to look at it. I'm willing to recommend it to the board.
No.
Thirty days and we're done.
Yeah.
We want to get that other guy.
You'd be back doing
Yeah, I'd
this
rather have the
again.
part-time guy.
They will be financially unstable for the district.
Financially,
Because if he retires, then we're responsible for his work.
That's where we've got people that are really looking for something specific. There's a reason why we've got the applicants. There. Russell?
Okay, you guys have a job to do. You have to get people to bring to the board, the full board. At this point, you don't have any people to bring to the board. No, A has just been wiped out.
E and F.
Not necessarily.
E and
Yeah.
F.
Still might not
I
be.
still recommend you think about what I'm saying of advertising again for more people. Because these two are three what you have.
No.
Well,
I understand.
one of them's gonna say.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But I'll tell you what.
How much?
Listen, you come to the next board meeting when we bring these to the board, and you recommend to the board that they do that. We can't do that.
I understand.
Recommend to the board and see if the board will do that. Because the board, the rest of the board, all five of the people, including us too, we've said, we gotta move forward with this, we've gotta get going.
If I was willing to entertain that, then what I would do is I would bring back the quote part-time person. Because that's what we're talking about anyway, is to open up the process and ask for more applicants. And maybe what we could do is that we could be specific maybe in what we're looking for, and affordability is an issue for us.
The problem with,
You can't leave the part-time fellow, you can't throw his application away. Bill is going to leave. At some point in time, if you don't get more applicants and you're not, without full board, I understand what you're saying, but you have to keep that part-timer just in case it gets so close to the wire that you bring in to help out, so Bill can.
Then that means that we'd have to have agreement that we brought, of course, HVAC in.
no, absolutely
See, it
not.
doesn't work for us. Can't do that.
No, I support it. Why would we want to start to
It
do
just
that
buys
and then
more
time?
It buys you
It's better
6
than
months
today.
is what it buys you,
And
8 hours a day,
it's
6
still-
months.
If I may interject,
It's just that-
if I may interject,
Give us a better
we've said
chance
over
of
and over
having a
again,
budget,
the board
so we
said
know
over again,
exactly
we
what
wanna
we
get a
can
general
offer,
manager.
what we can
And a
afford.
general manager's a full-time guy.
So how about if we do this? How about if we bring H in, we put it before the board, and we see if we can reach a better, agreement amongst all of us. So we've got two for now, we've got E and F, and our goal.
G.
No, you got A and F.
E and
A
F.
is gone.
A is
And
gone. E, F, and G.
E, F, G.
We got A, I got, in front of me, I got A,
G
F,
went away. I thought.
E,
A went away.
and G.
A went away.
A went away. A went away.
You just got E.
I think I relabeled them in here because I thought I messed them up, and I think I did.
So here's-
So now I gotta look
So,
out.
we recommend F, E, and G. Is that what
You said if he works one day.
Here's one of the problems.
Yeah.
You guys, as the personnel committee, are the ones here making the final decision on who needs to be interviewed. You cannot go to the full board and say, here's all of them, now you guys decide what we like.
Well,
That's your responsibility,
that's
because
why-
if you go to the full board, you're gonna have another 3-hour meeting on who we should add and who we should take out. So
Well,
you have to go and say.
We can't do, Beverly, Chuck and I can't make the decision.
You can say we have
We
3
recommend to
candidates,
the board.
3
these
candidates,
Okay,
let's
so
interview.
we're
Not
doing
H.
E, F, and G.
E, F, and G.
So, as far as money, Bill can tell you we're making $50,000 a month. He can come down with just an estimate of numbers. Yeah, we're
Sure.
bringing in money, it's 50,000. Okay, if you've got 50,000 extra, we have 10,000 we can pay for the general manager. Whatever the amount is, I'm just saying 10,000, whatever you guys come up with. So yeah, easy math. So now you're down to 40,000 income a month. Is that feasible? That's a simple, just make it that simple. To me, it sounds like we can afford it. If we keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off,
Oh, I have no intention of putting it off.
it's.
You are talking about a part-time manager.
Yeah, if we do a part-timer or something else like that, just the basic simple math of all of this, it sounds like we can afford it. We don't know for sure, but he
Well,
could
he
be
can
able
come
to.
up with the figures,
Right,
and
he
we
can
will do
crunch
it.
a few figures.
So we got 3. We'll recommend these 3?
Which
Yes.
numbers? A, F, or
E, F, and G.
E, F, and G.
And I suggest that you at least contact these 3, are you available?
Well,
And
we
what is
will,
your
we
salary
will do this
expectation?
before we go to the board.
Take
Yeah,
that on
yeah.
board, yes.
We already did that. We already did that with G, and it was by accident. I asked Bill, was G available? He said no, and it turns out that he might.
He may have changed his mind.
Well,
we covered about a lot of these.
Yeah, but all you have to do is
You
say,
talking
we're
about the
checking
part-time
with
guy?
everyone.
see, and I don't really like taking people. If someone's working somewhere else, which is kind of what we did do, where we shop around.
Well,
And
they-
what we're doing is we're picking up personnel from another district, and it seems like we're kind of making it happen.
You know what they call it?
Just call
Our
it
families, headhunters.
They apply.
Yes.
Well,
They apply.
I do it all the time.
That's how you build a
Common
team.
practice.
Me too.
Even in public.
Yeah, they applied, so evidently they wanted to move on.
Yeah.
There you go.
I do it all the time.
Okay, so we got 3, now let me,
I think Bill was gonna say something.
So I have here three, E, F, and G.
Yes,
Right,
And we will recommend to the board E, F, and G.
correct.
After contacting them.
And we'll contact them first,
So we're saying
and
then
then recommend.
that we've only got one
one or three.
that has got grant writing experience. Bill is doing a heck of a lot of grant writing experience, figured out. Well, whether it's grant writing or the facilitation and figuring out how it is to put
Well,
something
he
together
considered
for us to
we
get
have
money,
to do it.
he's doing that. And we gotta have that. You know,
And they can learn
the
it.
thought that G has that qualification
Okay.
is ignorance, as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't.
How much grant writing has Bill had prior to him taking,
He
general
simply
manager?
had the knowledge, he's walked into it, we got money coming in, we didn't have it.
Right.
But
You
you would,
would grant though, all I did was answer, I filled out an application and
That's-
submitted a financial
exactly.
package.
That's competence and recognizing
But
what it
it's
is
not
that
grant
needs to be
writing.
filled out financially and submitting that to the proper agency.
And the next person that we hire may also be able to learn it, just like.
Yeah, just
Bill
like
did.
That's my point, is you, in your negotiation, could set that as a requirement, that within a 6-month period, they gain the expertise they need. Classes are available at the local college.
6 months,
There's online
we're
stuff.
gonna pay
90 days.
on-the-job training at a general manager's salary that we negotiate, which is gonna stretch our budget.
That's only one aspect, grant writing is
Who
just
knows?
one
And if
aspect.
they
They may
don't
not
have that,
generate
guess what?
application
Their
and
starting rate is down.
We're trying to
Once
get a
they
general
get that
manager to run a water
classification, we can
company.
bring it up.
That's my point.
I understand that.
Bill mentioned that all he's done is fill out applications. There's thousands of applications out there for things that we can get.
Thousands of them.
You can spend a lot of time doing that. So I've got,
Three.
so I've
All
got,
right, so we, the community, we're gonna do the general manager's job after we hire him, and we're gonna try and train him?
No.
No, Chuck.
no,
You're
no,
only going through the application, so you see who was willing to do that, or who was able to do that, to be the manager.
Okay,
That's what you're doing.
you do a little research, Bill, found a few things. He put the application in, it's online, you just read it, you fill it in, you send it in. A grant writer does research, I mean in-depth research, above and beyond. There are people that do grant writing for a living, that are good at it, that are excellent at it, that's their job.
Well,
Our only job,
Well-
because a true grant writer, it will take you hours and hours and hours to go through.
we had always said that that was gonna be one of the things that we wanted in a general manager.
Well, what we want and what we get might be two different things.
I think we need a manager first, and then Bill is a perfect example of getting in there, finding specifically these different applications, filling them out, and he was persistent with the ones he filled out, and was able to get some money in.
And our district is not a
Scott,
turn
excuse me.
green district.
Scott wanted to talk.
Thank you. As a possibility, you could hire a grant writer. You would pay them for the
Sure.
first grant, and then they would be required to write in any fees they get into the next grant afterwards. Okay, and that would mitigate any cost for the district.
Like work on commission.
Yes,
Yes.
And
Pretty
there's certain
much.
ways of writing grants
Yes.
and
lots of
language
ways.
you have to use for certain grants. Only a grant writer would know that.
That's right. We had to use them in a 501c3, we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And we had highly educated people in that, group.
Yeah.
But we ended up with a grant writer, boom, were we lucky, because then the money started coming in. They knew exactly where to go and what to do.
So I still have three,
Yes.
Yes.
three here. We okay with the three?
I need to see those three to make sure that,
We got, number E,
E, F, and G.
F, and G.
The $25 million budget, the,
Video writing guy.
no, not the city
No,
guy.
no.
The, somebody from a small water district,
In Colorado, was it?
and the locally
New Mexico.
wastewater treatment plant operator. He's been a general manager 46 months.
Yeah.
10-year experience, no grant. E, F, and G.
E, F, and G. I have it in my hand, Bill. Oh, you already gave it to him.
Bill's got
So.
Better hang on to all of them because you may have to go back through it again.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Well, you know, we may call these three guys and they'll say, hey, I got a job somewhere else.
That's right.
But we will contact them before we bring it to the board, at the next board meeting.
Which is Wednesday.
That's a special meeting.
No, that's a special meeting. That's just pick up what it is. Bill? What do you think? Okay, that's, now what, these are the three?
Yep.
Okay, you got it. Okay, I'll give that to you, I'm not gonna do it. So, are we agreed on it?
We are.
Okay.
We haven't done the
Any more
meeting
public
yet.
comments?
Well, okay, so now we open it up.
I did, no public comment.
Public comments.
Isn't that what we've been doing?
I'm gonna comment.
We've been saving it out of the last 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay, anybody got
Every time I
any
open
more?
my mouth, I got interrupted, so.
If you don't have any more,
Why did I even attend?
we're gonna end the meeting. And let's see, well, 8:30, that's
What's
not.
the third meeting this week?
The what?
You mentioned 3.
Common water.
That's Wednesday.
That's Wednesday.
The, union rep wants a meeting
Oh, that's
That's for
to
you
start the
guys.
with
negotiations.
myself.
Yeah, that's not me, I'm not involved in that.
So that's.
Personnel committee?
Cedric and
Oh,
Chuck are involved in that.
okay.
They were appointed as a.
Is that gonna be a Brown Act meeting?
No,
No.
no, it can't
That's
be.
a closed door?
Because it's union negotiation.
I understand.
We'll all find out together what happened. Thank you all.